Are you making a choice to push away from something or move towards something? The perspective from which we make a choice matters because that's the energy that we bring into the situation. If we are trying to push away against something, then we will only keep the resistance active. Let's say someone wants to be in a relationship because when they look around, they see everyone else is in a relationship. So they don't want to be alone and they have this fear of loneliness. So they want to be in a relationship. So they are trying to push away against loneliness, and that keeps this energy of resistance to loneliness active. And so, what will happen is from this state, they will only attract relationships which are suboptimal, and they will eventually keep settling, and it will get to a point where they cannot take it anymore and they will end up lonely because they were resisting loneliness, and what we resist persists. So resisting the fear of loneliness then created being lonely in the end. Now, it does not mean that loneliness cannot be a factor why someone wants to be in a relationship. So, we can acknowledge that loneliness is one of the aspects, but then we also need to make sure that we are approaching this relationship from a perspective of a sum total of give and take, where loneliness is a need. The person wants companionship because they feel lonely, but at the same time they understand that they are also offering companionship to the other person, and they are also offering this participation with the other person where they come together and share their life or their moments together. They share their joy and love together, and so then it becomes an integrative experience, and we are not approaching it from only one perspective of neediness. The difference may seem subtle between the two choices, but the energy is different. One is coming from that sense of neediness, and the other one is about sharing. So, both will attract different kinds of relationships. And when we come from this approach of sharing with the other person, it will lead to wholesome relationships where two people are coming together in an exchange of give and take. Another example, someone may want to give up an unhealthy habit, like they want to give up unhealthy foods or lack of exercise, or they are watching TV excessively or indulging in video games, or they want to quit smoking or drinking or some other unhealthy habit. Because when they compare their body image to others, they find themselves lacking, or they want to see a specific number on the scale, or they feel it's a waste of time and energy. So, what they do is they push against this unhealthy habit, and that keeps the struggle active. So, it becomes a quest of push and pull where they want to indulge, but then they have this fear of consequences. So, then it becomes a battle where they cannot relax. Even when they are indulging in these unhealthy habits, there's this narrative at the back of their heads which is constantly going like, why are you doing this? This is unhealthy for you. And they are obsessed about the results that they will have with this behavior. And later, once they are done with the activity, then they have this enormous amount of guilt. So they are not feeling good while indulging in this behavior, and they are not feeling good later. So it's a lose lose situation. So it becomes then a struggle where they constantly torment themselves, torture themselves to move away from this bad habit. And this is where we see that people are not able to adhere to good habits, or they cannot adhere to diets. They move from diet to diet. They can only practice something for a specific amount of time, or they can only quit a habit for, let's say, a period of 3 to 6 months, and after that it becomes too much for them. It becomes unsustainable, and they go back to their previous behaviors because they cannot make those changes stick. It's because they are constantly trying to move away from this habit, and that keeps that vibration of that negativity active in their life. And it's really hard to outrun something because you always have that fear of that negative habit catching up to you. Instead, we want to become a holistic person. We want to make the choice where the person is a healthy individual, Now, let's say if a healthy individual has a night of indulgence where they veer off the path and indulge in unhealthy foods, or they drink, they have a night out where they celebrate something, what will happen the next day? They will just be back on the path because that's who they are. It's similar to people indulging during vacations or during holidays, but once that period is over, people start right back where they were because it's who they are. But if we consider ourselves as unhealthy and we are trying to get away from this unhealthy habit, then guess what will happen to an unhealthy person? They will be defeated by this bad behavior because they are unhealthy. So instead of pushing ourselves against this habit and thinking that we are this unhealthy person who has to get rid of this unhealthy habit, we want to be making this choice of being this healthy individual. And if there are slip ups on this path, then we keep um, taking care of those situations and moving along on the path. So, again, looks similar on the surface, but two different energies. So, next time you have to make a choice, evaluate whether you are pushing against something or moving towards a positive choice. When we are pushing against something, then we are creating this disconnect, this separation. And so, we have to make sure that we have this distance between what we are trying to get away from, and it keeps that energy active in our vibration where we have to constantly monitor that this separation is still intact, and we are not getting close to whatever we are trying to get away from. Instead, when we make a choice to move towards something positive, you bring in this energy which is encompassing and integrative, and it leads to results which are long lasting and effective. So, make a choice which is towards a positive outcome, and you will see that your results are permanent and faster. Thanks for watching. Bye.